was pseudostatic RAM cell or register cell. Now what is pseudo? Pseudo means false. So static means a permanent. Okay, this is false permanent random access memory or register cell. Right? Okay. So here this memory can store the data for longer duration. So last class I had explained this circuit. So I'll just try to brief. Okay, so here you know that we can perform three operations: a write operation, a read operation, and refresh operation. Fine. So first, okay, if we want to perform a write operation, okay, we'll see what we have to do. Okay, WR stands for write operation. Fine. And here, okay, you know what is bus? Okay, bus is nothing but the rail, okay, which carries the information. So let us assume that bus contains logic 1. Fine. Let us assume that bus contains logic 1. Here I am trying to perform write operation. For write operation, WR should be 1, and that should be in coincidence with phi 1. Even phi 1 should be 1, so that WR.phi1 will be 1. Okay, then this transistor will be on. Okay, you can take this as some T1 transistor. Right, when T1 transistor is on, okay, whatever data you have in bus, okay, that will be obtained here, right? Okay, so that logic 1 is obtained, that is inverted, you'll get 0. Okay, and output will be 1 and output bar will be 0. Understood, no? Right, for write operation, okay, we should have information in bus. Let us assume that bus is having logic 1. Okay, here we'll make WR as 1, phi 1 as 1, so that WR.phi1 will be 1. Then this transistor, that is T1, will be on. Whatever information you have in bus, that will be available here. Okay, and that is inverted, you'll get 0. Again, it is inverted, you'll get 1. So here you have 0, that's what you are getting, 0 at the output bar. Getting it? Okay, so during write operation, we'll have to make phi 2 is equal to 0. Okay, if you take this as some T2 transistor, so here the T2 transistor will be off. Fine. And during write operation, your read signal should be 0. Since phi 1 is 1, okay, 0 and with 1, you'll get 0. Okay, then this transistor, that is T2 transistor, or sorry, we'll take it as T3. T3 will be off. Then so we'll perform write operation. Understood? Okay. So here we have stored, okay, logic 1 in this memory. Next, okay, we'll see, okay, what should be done. Okay, next we'll perform refresh operation. Okay, so we'll perform refresh operation. Okay, for refreshing, we'll have to make phi 2 is equal to 1. Okay, so for refreshing, we'll have to make phi 2 is equal to 1. So we'll not worry what is there in bus. Clear? Okay, when you make phi 2 is equal to 1, right, your T2 transistor will be on, and here we'll make write as 0, and phi 1 should be 0, so that WR dot Okay, phi 1 will be 0. Then your T1 transistor will be off. Getting it, no? Okay, this is for refreshing. Okay, so if you want to refresh, what you have to do, okay, we'll have to make phi 2 as 1. Okay, so that this transistor will be on, T2 will be on. Whatever data you have in output, that will be passed here and that you'll get here. Okay, if you have logic 1, you'll get logic 1. That is inverted, you'll get 0. Again, it is inverted, you'll get 1. Right? As long as phi 2 is made 1, right, your data will be refreshed. Right? So when phi 2 is 1, okay, phi 1 should be 0. Understood, no? The output of second inverter is 1, that is given to input of first inverter, okay, and that is inverted, you'll get like this. Getting it? Okay, this is during a refresh operation, right? And next we'll perform write operation, sorry, read operation. Okay. For reading, we'll have to make RD is equal to 1 for read operation. Okay. So here, whatever data you have stored in this memory, that we are trying to read. Getting it? Okay. So here we'll have to make phi 2 is equal to 0. So that your T2 transistor will be off. Right? For read operation, RD should be 1 and phi 1 should be 1. When RD is 1 and phi 1 is 1, RD dot phi 1 will be 1. Then T3 transistor will be on. So whatever data you have in output, okay, that is at the output of second inverter, will be driven onto the bus. Now bus will be having 1. Yeah? Understood? No? Like this, we can perform read operation. Understood? For read operation, RD should be 1, phi 1 should be 1. So that T3 will be on. Whatever data you have in output, that will be driven onto the bus. During that time, phi 2 should be 0 and WR should be 0. Yeah. Okay. So in this way, we can try to operate this NMOS pseudostatic RAM cell. In this slide, you can see the circuit diagram for NMOS pseudostatic RAM cell and the stick diagram for NMOS pseudostatic RAM cell. Okay, you have an idea how to draw the stick diagram. Okay, that is drawn here. So here you can see there are 3 pass transistors. Okay, this is one pass transistor. So this is another pass transistor. This is another pass transistor. So there are 3 pass transistors. Fine. So here you can see the stick diagram for the pass transistors. Okay, the first pass transistor is having control input of WR.51. Okay, here you can see the control signal, nothing but the control signal. Getting it now? So this is the nothing but the poly which is having control signal of WR.51. So that is shown here. Fine. And this is another pass transistor which is having control of phi 2. Okay, here you can see this is another pass transistor which is having a control of phi 2. And here you have one more pass transistor which is having control of RD.51. Right, here you can see this is the pass transistor which is having a control signal RD.51. Can you make out? So there are three pass transistors. This is one pass transistor, this is another pass transistor, this is another pass transistor. Fine. And there are two inverters. Okay, one inverter is having a ratio of 8:1, other one is having ratio of 4:1. Okay, the inverter stick diagram you can see here in between. Okay, inverter stick diagram you can see in between. Yeah. Okay. So did you identify the pass transistors and the inverters? So there are three pass transistors. Okay, which is having control signals of WR.51, phi 2, and RD.51. There are three pass transistors. There are two inverters. The inverters are having a ratio of 8:1 and 4:1. Yeah. Okay. I'll just explain how to draw the stick diagram. So I can just go through. So initially, I'll draw the power supply rails. Okay. First, I'll draw VDD rail and VSS rail. Can you make out? So VDD rail and VSS rail has been drawn. Done. Okay, VDD and VSS would be required for inverter. There are two inverters here, right? That is shown here, right? Okay, here you can see the circuit diagram for inverter is drawn here in between. Okay, you can make out, I think. Okay, this is the circuit diagram for inverter. Okay, there are two inverters. So that is drawn here. The upper one is depletion mode transistor. The lower one is enhancement mode transistor. Yeah. Okay. So let me explain how to draw the stick diagram for inverter. You have an idea how to draw the stick diagram, no? Fine. So first, okay, I'll draw the diffusion path. Okay, you can see here, this is nothing but diffusion, this is diffusion, this is diffusion, right? So I'll draw the diffusion path, okay, between, okay, VDD and VSS. Can you make out? I'm drawing inverter stick diagram. I'll draw the diffusion path between VDD and VSS. Okay, for diffusion we'll use N plus diffusion. No? Okay, the color of N plus diffusion is green. Okay, that is drawn here, right? And you know that by crossing poly we'll get transistor. I'll cross polys. Okay, when you cross poly, you'll get the transistor, right? Getting it? No, right? Okay. So the gate of depletion mode transistor should be connected to source, and from there we'll take the output. Okay, the gate should be connected to source, and from there you can take the output. There's nothing but output, right? Can you make it? And wherever contacts are required, you make a contact. So wherever contacts are required, you make a contact. That's it. Understood? That's it. Okay. And for depletion mode transistor, we'll have to draw the implant that is drawn here. You can make out here. The implant is drawn in dotted line. Implant is drawn in dotted line. Done. Okay, so we'll draw the stick diagram for inverter. So to inverter stick diagram has been drawn. I hope you are getting it. Right? Okay. And here there is one bus rail. Okay, you can make out this is nothing but a bus. Okay, sometimes we'll use two buses. So here there is one bus. Okay, there is nothing but a bus. On top of that, you have one more bus that is not required now. That you can ignore it. Okay, bus rail has been drawn. Can you make out? Okay, the color of metal is blue. Okay, that is used. Okay, that bus rail is drawn. Right. Okay. Now we'll draw pass transistor. You can make out here. This is one pass transistor. Right. So here one end of pass transistor is connected to bus. Okay, here you can see I'll draw the pass transistor. Okay, one end is connected to bus. Okay. So you know that by crossing poly or diffusion we'll get transistor. I'll cross poly or diffusion, I'll get the transistor. Okay, control signal is WR.5. Right? So one end is connected here, other end is connected here. So one end of pass transistor is connected to bus, other end is connected to the input of first inverter. Right, other end of WR.5 pass transistor is connected to input of first inverter. Okay, that is connected. Okay, so there's nothing but input, no. Okay, there's nothing but input of the NMOS inverter. Okay, I have connected to input. Done. Okay, so one more pass transistor is required. So this is another pass transistor. Right? Okay, from input of first inverter, from input of first inverter, okay, there's nothing but the input, no, poly, this is nothing but poly, that is nothing but the input of the inverter. From there, it should be connected to a pass transistor, right? Okay, this is nothing but the pass transistor, so which is having control input of phi 2. Okay, there's nothing but the poly, no? Getting it? Okay. Next, so one more transistor is required here. Okay, for RD.51. Okay, one more transistor is required. Okay, that is drawn here for RD.51. Okay, then diffusion. Right, this is nothing but diffusion, right? So from where it should be connected? From output of second inverter, it should be connected. This is nothing but the output of the second inverter. From there, it should be connected to the diffusion. Okay, nothing but output of second inverter. From there, it is connected to one of the diffusion. There's nothing but the output of second inverter that is connected to one of the diffusion. Other end of the diffusion should be connected to bus. Other end of the diffusion should be connected to bus. Done. What is left out? Output of first inverter should be connected to input of second inverter. Output of first inverter should be connected to input of second inverter. Right? Here I cannot use diffusion. If I use diffusion, it will be shorted. No. For that, I'll have to use metal. Okay, there's nothing but output of first inverter. So that should be connected to input of second inverter. I'll use metal. Okay, because below metal there will be silicon dioxide. Below that we can run diffusion. Right? And wherever contacts are required, you can make a contact. Right? There's nothing but the output of first inverter. There's nothing but output of first inverter. That should be connected to input of second inverter. Done. And what is left out? One more connection is left out here. Alva. Okay. So there's nothing but output of second inverter. Output of second inverter should be connected to one end of diffusion. Output of second inverter should be connected to one end of the diffusion. That is connected. Clear? So like this, we can draw the stick diagram for NMOS pseudostatic memory cell. Did you understand? So if you practice, you'll get to know. Okay. Hope you have understood. So in this way, we can draw the stick diagram for NMOS pseudostatic RAM cell or register cell. Next, so let us see about CMOS pseudostatic memory cell. So instead of NMOS pass transistors, I have used transmission gates. Okay. And instead of using NMOS inverters, we'll use CMOS inverters. Can you make out? So working, you can easily analyze, I think. Same. The operation of CMOS pseudostatic memory cell is same as the operation of NMOS pseudostatic memory cell. Right? Here we can perform three operations: write operation, refresh operation, and read operation. Right? So I'll just try to brief how you can perform a write operation first. Okay, if you want to perform a write operation, you know what should be WR and you know what should be phi1, right? So WR and phi1 should be 1, so that WR dot phi1 bar will be 0, right? Then the first transmission gate, let us take T1, it will be on. Understood? Let us assume that bus is having logic 1. Okay, whatever data you have in bus, okay, that will be written into this memory. Okay, here the first transmission gate is on, the current will flow in that transmission gate. Whatever data you had in bus, that will be available here. That is inverted, you'll get 0. Again, it is inverted, you'll get 1. And output bar is 0. Simple, right? So during that time, phi2 should be made 0, so that phi2 bar will be 1, and this transmission gate, okay, will be off. Let us take this transmission gate as T2. right? And here RD should be 0 and phi 1 should be 1, so that RD dot phi 1 will be 0. Yeah. Then RD dot phi 1 bar will be 1, so this transmission gate will be off. You can take this transmission gate as T3. Done? Okay. So like this, we can write the data into this memory. So one bit of information has been stored. What are information you had in bus, that is logic 1, is stored here, right? Next, if you want to perform refresh operation. Okay, next we'll perform refresh operation. For refreshing, phi 2 should be made 1. Okay. Now we are doing refreshing. So for refreshing, phi 2 should be made 1, so that T2 will be on. So during that time, okay, we can make phi 1 as 0 and WR as 0, so that WR dot phi 1 will be 0. Done. And WR dot phi 1 bar will be 1. So that T1 transmission gate is off. Understood? No. Here we are performing refresh operation. For refreshing, phi 2 should be 1. So that whatever data you had in output of second inverter, that will be passed. Here, so you'll get 1 here, that is inverted, you'll get 0. Again, it is inverted, you'll get 1. Your data will be refreshed. If there is any charge decay in the output, that will be refreshed. If it becomes less than 5 volts, okay, it will be recharged to 5 volts. Right? Okay, if you connect two inverters back to back, okay, your data will be retained. Understood? No? Okay. Right? This is about refreshing. And next is RAID operation. And you know how to perform RAID operation. For RAIDing, okay, RD should be 1 and phi 1 should be 1. So that, okay, whatever data you have, okay, that will be read down to the bus. That's it. Okay. Here phi 2 will be made 0, so that, okay, T2 will be off. Phi 1 is made 1. Phi 1 is made 1. Right? RD is made 1. So that 1.1 is 1. T3 is on. And whatever data you have in this output, that will be read down to the bus and you'll get 1. Understood? Okay. So in this way, we can perform RAID operation. Right. The operation of NMOS pseudostatic memory cell and CMOS is same. Only difference is here we are using transmission gate. There we are using fast transistor. That's it. Here we are using CMOS inverter. There we are using NMOS inverter. If you use CMOS inverter, there won't be any static power dissipation. If you use NMOS inverter, there will be a static power dissipation. Right. If I use NMOS fast transistor, logic 1 will be degraded by threshold voltage. If I use transmission gate, logic 1 will not be degraded. That's it. Understood, no? So in this way, you can try to analyze this CMOS pseudostatic memory cell. Okay, here I'll just try to brief how to draw the stick diagram. Okay, you can try to analyze. Okay, it's very easy to draw the stick diagram. You know how to draw the stick diagram for transmission gate. You know how to draw the stick diagram for CMOS inverter. That is drawn and it is interconnected. That's it. Okay, there's nothing but circuit diagram for CMOS inverter, no? So here you just make a the transmission gates. In transmission gate, PMOS and NMOS transistors will be connected in parallel. Okay, the one transmission gate which is having control signal WR.51. WR.51 is the control signal for NMOS. Okay, here I can make out NMOS transistor. Right? I can make out, no? So by crossing poly and diffusion over poly will get transistor. Okay, the one transistor which is having control signal of WR.5. Right, there is another transistor here. So there is another transistor. By crossing P plus diffusion or poly will get transistor, that is WR.51 bar. Okay, first transmission gate. So here they are connected in parallel. Okay, you can connect these two in parallel. That's it. Okay. And here it can be connected to bus. Okay, one end is connected to bus. No. Can you make out? So this is the stick diagram for transmission gate. Okay, the first transmission gate you can make out. And second transmission gate, you can see here phi 2 is the control signal for NMOS, phi 2 bar is the control signal for PMOS. That is drawn here. So now that by crossing poly or diffusion, we'll get transistor. Can you make out? By crossing N plus diffusion over poly, we'll get NMOS. Okay, NMOS you got no. And PMOS by crossing P plus diffusion over poly, we'll get PMOS. PMOS is having phi 2 bar control signal that you can see here. NMOS is having control signal phi 2. They are connected in parallel. You know how it can be connected in parallel, right? They are connected in parallel. And wherever contacts are required, you can make a contact. Getting it? Okay. Understood, no? So I have drawn two transmission gates. Drawing transmission gate is easy, okay? So first, you just draw the transmission gate stick diagram, okay? First we'll draw poly. Then we'll draw diffusion. N plus diffusion for NMOS. P plus diffusion for PMOS. Right? And since it should be connected in parallel, you just connect in parallel. That's it. Understood? So initially, don't try to draw the stick diagram for full circuit. Okay, you just draw the stick diagrams for transmission gate and stick diagrams for inverter. Then later on you can connect. Then two transistors, PMOS and NMOS, it should be connected in parallel. That is done. Understood? So 3 transmission gates, stick diagram has been drawn. And so next, stick diagram for inverter. You know how to draw stick diagram for inverter. We have drawn many times. First, we need to draw VDD rail. Okay, then we need to draw VSS rail, right? Then VSS contact and VDD contact. Can you make out? Next, we'll draw the stick diagram for inverter directly. So this is PMOS, this is NMOS. Okay, directly I'll draw the stick diagram for inverter. You just draw L. Just draw L. This is nothing but P plus diffusion. And then you draw poly. Okay, you just draw the poly like this. Right? You draw L for P plus diffusion, then ulta L for N plus diffusion. That's it. Okay, this is inverter. Right? It's very easy to draw the inverter. Okay, just one ulta L and one L here and a poly. That's it. Right? Understood? No, and a metal here. Okay, this metal you can connect. This one. Right? And a metal here. And wherever contacts are required, you can make a contact. Got it?
Sir,
Ah,
can you explain
me.
what happens in this using the stick diagram of inverter? Can you explain what will happen to the input if it's 0?
Okay. So with respect to 0, no? Okay. Let me finish this stick diagram. I'll come back to that. Almost done. No? Only connections I have to do. Fine. Okay. So got it now. First, we'll draw the stick diagram of transmission gate. 2 transmission gates have been drawn this side. Then 2 inverters has been drawn. Then one more transmission gate has been drawn. Right? Next, what I'll do, I'll try to do the connection. So just see the connections, how it is connected. Okay. Can you make out the connections? I'll do the connections now. Okay. So here you can see. So the diffusion ends of this transmission gate, that is WR.51 control input transmission gate, should be connected to bus. So here it is connected to bus, this end. Right? Okay. And the other end of the transmission gate should be connected to input of first inverter, and it should be connected to one of the diffusion of the phi 2 transmission gate. So here this is phi 2 transmission gate, right? Okay, this is connected here, right? So 2 transmission gates are connected this side, and it should be connected to input of first inverter, and this one should be connected to input of first inverter. Done. Right. The output of second inverter should be connected to input of output of first inverter should be connected to input of second inverter. There's nothing but output, no. The output should be connected to input. This connection. Done. The output of First inverter should be connected to input of second inverter. This is first inverter, right? This is second inverter. Then, and here you can see one of the diffusion of this transmission gate is connected to bus. Here I have drawn the bus. This is nothing but the bus, right? So one of the diffusion of the RD.51 transmission gate should be connected to bus. That is connected here. This end. Clear? And the other end should be connected to output of second inverter. The other end should be connected to output. This one. Okay, it's already connected. The output of second inverter, no? That is connected to one of the diffusion of RD.51 transmission. And the last connection, this connection. The other end of phi 2 transmission gate, this one should be connected to the output of second inverter. Yeah? Okay. In this way, you can try to draw the stick diagram. Understood, no? You can make out here. So this is one transmission gate stick diagram. This is another transmission gate stick diagram. And this is inverter. And this is another inverter. The last one is transmission. Yeah? Okay. Fine. So now I'll just explain how 0 can be stored in this memory, no? That's a doubt, no? Yeah. Okay. So now let us assume that bus is having logic 0, right? So bus is having logic 0. That data should be stored here, correct? No.
Sure.
Okay. So here I'll make first I'll perform write operation. Right.
Sir, actually, I understood how the data is stored in the diagram, sir. How the inverter individually works, sir. I don't know how it inverts. Using the stick diagram, can I explain, sir? Only the inverter, sir.
Inverter part 1. Okay. So here, so the inverter circuit diagram will be like this. Okay. One second. I'll draw the circuit diagram. Even in stick diagram also you can analyze. Fine. So what should be the input for this? Logic 1 only give. Okay. So let me give logic 1 only here. Okay. So if I give logic 1 as an input for the inverter, what will happen? So I'll give logic 1 here. So if I give logic 1 to gate of PMOS transistor, PMOS will be on or off? PMOS will off. Okay. So if PMOS is off, okay, then current cannot flow from VDD to output. Yeah. Okay. So here NMOS will be on, correct? No? So NMOS is on. Whatever charge you have in output capacitor, so that charge will be discharged. Because NMOS is on, channel is formed in this transistor. Okay, the current will flow, okay, in this transistor, and charge in the output capacitor will be discharged, and you'll get 0. Understood? No? Okay. Understood? Yeah. Using stick diagram, you want me to explain? So here, channel is formed in this transistor. Okay, so here you can see we'll give logic 1 here. Okay, if I give logic 1, the PMOS will be off.
Sir, I wanted to know how, sir, because both poly same only, no, sir. Both poly top at the top and down both are same, which has crossed. So if you give one, both should turn on.
No. So here, if I give 1, so this poly is connected. This is nothing but transistor, no? Okay, for gate, here I am giving 1 for this and 1 for this also. So here I am giving 1 for this as well as 1 for this. So one transistor will be off, other will be on.
Okay,
so
sir.
that's
We don't differentiate
they are,
PMOS and NMOS, sir, using stick diagram.
using stick diagram, we cannot differentiate. Okay, here we have the demarcation line. No, the dotted line, whatever we have drawn, that is nothing but demarcation line. So whatever transistors you write above the demarcation, it will be PMOS. Whatever you write below the demarcation, it will be NMOS.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Now I understood, sir.
Got it. So because in single color, if I have one pen, that is a blue pen or black pen, I cannot differentiate PMOS and NMOS. Okay, only way I can differentiate is by drawing the demarcation. Whichever transistor is drawn above this dotted line, it is PMOS. Whichever transistor is drawn below the demarcation, it is NMOS. Understood? No? That is the convention. So, but colors, convention. So, using colors, we can differentiate. We'll use yellow color for P plus diffusion and green color for N plus diffusion. Understood?
Yes,
Okay. So, in this way, we can draw the circuit diagram, stick diagram, and all. Right? Good. Okay, this is very important. Okay, usually they'll ask this in exam. So, usually they'll ask another circuit diagram. If you know how to draw stick diagram, that'll be better. For NMOS, they may ask. For CMOS, they may not ask. Only circuit diagram they'll ask. Yeah. And the volatility, since we are using FITO, since there is a refresh operation, the data can be stored for longer duration. Right. That is about the volatility in case of CMOS pseudostatic memory cell. And about power dissipation, there is no power dissipation in CMOS pseudostatic memory cell, that is static power dissipation. And there will be only switching power dissipation. Using the formula you can find, that is M into CL into VDD square into F. So using that formula you can find. Whereas in case of NMOS, there will be static participation. You have an idea how to find, right? In dynamic shift register, we have found, no, in the same fashion you need to find. This formula is used to find dynamic participation. Okay, in case of CMOS, we'll use this formula for finding dynamic participation. M into CL into VDD square into F. Okay. And static power dissipation, we'll use this formula. Okay. So you have an idea how to find power dissipation, right? And also area, you know how to find. Some 1370 lambda square you'll get. So just substitute and find 4 mm by 4 mm chip. Usually they'll ask you to explain pseudostatic memory cell. If they ask like that, you just draw the circuit diagram and explanation is enough. Okay, similarly for others also, if you remember area, then you can calculate area. Otherwise, you can write a little bit about dissipation and volatility. Okay. Four transistor dynamic RAM cell is there and 6 transistor dynamic RAM cell. That I'll complete next class. So let me finish this pseudostatic CMOS D flip-flop. Very easy. Okay, you can just analyze. Okay. So they'll just ask you to explain pseudostatic CMOS D flip-flop. You just have to draw the circuit diagram and explanation. So you just go through the circuit diagram. So we have used two transmission gates. T1 and T2 are the two transmission gates. And we have used two inverters. Inverter 1 and inverter 2. D is the input. Q and Q bar are the outputs. Simple D flip-flop. You can analyze, I think, no?
So,
Okay. Simple. Okay. You know, if you apply logic 1 for gate of NMOS, NMOS will be on. If you apply logic 0 for gate of PMOS, PMOS will be on, like that. Okay. If we apply logic 0 for gate of NMOS, NMOS will be off. If we apply logic 1 for gate of PMOS, PMOS will be off, like that. Simple. Okay, if you know that, you can easily analyze any circuit, right? Okay. Here we can perform only two operations. Write and read operation together will be done, and refresh operation. Right? For write and read operation, we'll see what has to be done. Here, LD is one control signal, phi1 is another control signal. LD dot phi1 should be made 1, so that LD dot phi1 bar will become 0. Right? LD dot phi1 is 1. That means LD should be 1, phi1 should be 1. Getting it now? Okay. So if you are applying logic 1 for gate of NMOS, NMOS will be on. And if you are applying logic 0 for gate of PMOS, PMOS will be on. Your transmission gate is on. Yeah. Okay. Your transmission gate T1 is on. And whatever data you give for D, that will be available here. If D is 1, we'll get 1 here. And that is inverted, you'll get 0. Not gate, no. Not gate means whatever input you apply, that is inverted. Again, it is inverted, you'll get 1. So therefore, Q is 1, Q bar is 0. So whatever D input you are applying, same thing you will get. That's what I have written here. Q is equal to D. Simple, no? All right. So during that time, phi 2 should be made 0. Okay, when phi 2 is made 0, LD bar dot phi 2 will become 0. And LD bar dot phi 2 will become 1. Okay, whole bar. Okay. So here your T2 is off. If your T2 is off, we cannot refresh. So that's what I have written here. Simple. Okay. The only thing is here you just have to remember the circuit diagram. If you remember the circuit diagram, it'll be easy for you to explain, right? Pseudo-static CMOS D flip-flop means in the circuit diagram, if you have right, then just apply the values for the control signals and then apply the value for the input and see what will be output. That's it. Understood? No? Here I am trying to write logic 1 that is stored, and again it is read. What data is stored in this memory, I am getting to know. So that is why I have written write and read operation together. And refreshing, you can easily do it, right? Any doubt in this? No. Okay. Next, what you have to do for refreshing? For refreshing, I'll have to change the clock. You know, phi 2 will be used for refreshing, right? Phi 2 will be used for refreshing, right? Whatever data you stored in this memory, that should be retained for longer duration. For that purpose, we'll do refreshing. Otherwise, refreshing is not required, right? Here, two inverters are connected back to back. So because of that, your data will be stored for longer duration, right? Here, I'll make LD bar dot phi 2 as 1. So that LD bar dot phi 2 whole bar will become 0. And T2 will be turned on. Yeah. When T2 is on, what will happen? The output of second inverter, that is logic 1 is there. Okay, that value is passed like this, right? We'll get 1, that is inverter will get 0, that is inverter will get 1, right? Here the pull-up transistor will charge the output capacitor to VDD. That is why you'll get logic 1, right? That 1 is applied to input. If I apply logic 1, pull down transistor, NMOS will be on. Whatever charge you have in output capacitor will be discharged, right? Here LD.51 should be made 0 and LD.51 bar will become 1. So that T1 transmission gate will become off. That's all. This is nothing but the refreshing. Got it? No. Very simple. Here, okay, LD.52, this one should become 52. LD.52 should be, this is correct only. LD.51 should be made 0. LD bar dot 52 should be made 1. Correct. Understood? No? Right? Okay. It's very easy. Okay. Two inverters are connected back to back. Okay. If two inverters are connected back to back, okay, your data will be restored for longer duration. Okay, that is the advantage of the two back-to-back inverters. Okay, many times we have used two inverters back-to-back, right? So there I have used a symbol. Here I am drawing the circuit. Yeah. Here you can see, consider two inverters. This is the output of first inverter. That should be connected to the input of second inverter. And this is the output of second inverter that is connected to input of first inverter, like this. We have done here. Okay. Here I'm giving 1. Okay, when I give 1, okay, NMOS transistor will be on. Okay, PMOS will be off. Okay. So whatever charge you have in this output capacitor, that will be discharged. So therefore, you'll get 0 here. Okay. Wherever you see at the output or at the input, there will be parasitic capacitance. Okay, that parasitic capacitance will be holding the data. Understood? No. Okay. In analog circuits and all, we'll be using resistor as a load, whereas in case of digital circuits, okay, we'll use capacitor as a load. Okay, there's nothing but the parasitic capacitance which can be obtained from the input or at the output. Okay. Here, there's nothing but the interconnect. No. So interconnect means it's nothing but metal. Okay, below metal will be having silicon dioxide. Below that will be having other layers. Okay, because of that you'll get the parasitic capacitance, right? So here we have 0. Okay, if you apply logic 0 for gate of PMOS, PMOS will be on, right? And NMOS will be off if you apply logic 0. So since the PMOS is on, it will charge the output capacitor to VDD. Since the power supply is VDD, the output will be charged up to VDD. So that's why you'll get logic 1. Okay, VDD means it's nothing but logic 1. So more in many cases, okay, we'll be using 2 inverters back to back. Okay, if you use 2 inverters back to back, your data will be stored for longer duration. Understood? No. So this concept you need to understand properly. When we apply logic 1 for gate of PMOS, PMOS will be off. When we apply logic 1 for gate of NMOS, NMOS will be on. If NMOS is on, whatever charge you have in output capacitor, that will be discharged. Right? Okay, when we apply logic 0 for gate of PMOS, PMOS will be on. When PMOS is on, it will charge output capacitor up to VDD. That VDD is applied here. Done? And when we apply logic 0 for gate of NMOS, NMOS will be off. So when NMOS is off, it cannot discharge. This is a very important concept. Right? Thank you.